Okay, just a video of me going over today's assignment. I hope this is helpful. It's interesting because some of the questions at the beginning are more difficult than the ones at the end, and usually that's not the case because IXL is the opposite. IXL starts easy and gets progressively more difficult. No big deal. So if you were paying attention yesterday, you understood. How do I want you to find the area of a trapezoid, which is this shape right here? Easy. Take the bottom plus the top, add them together. Now, some of you are even going to struggle with that because you're going to want to do this. And that is completely wrong because you're forgetting that you have to convert that number that's not a decimal into a decimal when you add with at least one decimal so that you can line up the decimal and get 12.3. So that's how I got 12.3, okay? And then you're going to multiply that. You're going to write that out times the height. Now, the height in this example, the height is not the 2. I'm sorry, they don't even give you the diagonal. So that's good. The height is obviously 6. Then you can multiply both numbers and then cut that answer in half, or you can cut one of the numbers in half first and then multiply, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and cut 6 in half to get 3, which is 6 divided by 2. And now I'm just going to multiply 12.3 times 3, and that's going to be your answer. So you're going to have to do that on your own, though. I want to see you show me that you can multiply, and it's going to be to the second power because it's area. So multiply those, don't forget about the decimal, and then write your answer to the second power. Centimeters squared, centimeters to the second power. That's number 1. And that took 2 minutes. So if every question takes 2 minutes, this will take half an hour. Okay, this is a kite. And hopefully you've already heard me explain how to find the area of a kite. So you just take this length times this length. And then you either cut that answer in half or cut one of these numbers in half and multiply, just like a trapezoid, okay? Or just like the area of a triangle. So what's 7? Let's do the side length first. What's 7 plus 7? And then what's 4 plus 9? Combine those two. Okay? What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go ahead and cut the even number in half, and then I'm going to multiply. So 14 cut in half is 7, and 7 times 13 is 91, and I know I gave you the answer for that. No big deal. And then it's 91 centimeters squared, and that's the answer, okay? So that's how you do that. If that was too fast, just pause the video, go back and watch me do it again. Okay, next. Number 3. Okay, so for this one, now this is, so this plus this, no, I'm so sorry, times that. The length across, the vertical length times the horizontal length. Okay, I'm going to have to do this all over again. How are you doing? Ha! I didn't know that I could pause this thing. I don't have to start all over, which is fantastic. Now, that was not my girlfriend. That was your mom. I'm just joking. That was something about my contacts, my prescription for my contacts. Anyway, so I need to take the horizontal length times the vertical length, and I'm either going to take that answer and divide by 2, or I'm going to divide one of these numbers by 2 and then multiply. So that's the process. So class, 6 and 6. What's 6 plus 6? And then what is that distance? 3 plus 14. Now, you can multiply and then cut in half. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this number in half first. And then just multiply those two numbers, and that will give you your answer, okay? Don't forget centimeters squared. That is number 3. Number 4, it's a trapezoid. So this one, watch what they're going to do here. You add those two together times the height. They're both odd. So you're not going to, some of you, I don't want you to have to do this in your head. If they're both odd numbers and you cut that in half, you're going to get a decimal. So don't worry about it. Let's just go ahead and multiply times 7. And then this is going to be a decimal. You're going to take that answer and you're going to divide by 2. 2 goes into 15 7 times. And then decimal, decimal, 0. And I want you to finish. I just messed up, didn't I? I want you to finish this on your own. 2 goes into 10 how many times? See if there's a remainder, and if there's not, then whatever this is going to be your answer, okay? Inches squared. Next. Okay, it's a kite. Remember, let's do this length first. That is not 10 across, that's 10 plus 10. Times the vertical length, 7 plus 11. Okay? Now, let's take the first number, cut it in half, and then multiply those two numbers together, and that's your answer. That's it. You're done. For this one, add up the bottom and the top. That's 28 and 12. Combine those. Multiply times the height, which is 11. So what you're going to want to do is I would cut this in half, multiply times 11, and that's your answer, millimeters squared. You should be able to do the rest on your own once you see me do like 7 of these or 6 of these. Area of the desktop, oh, these are big numbers, no big deal. Add the two top and bottom to get this times this. Now I can do 30 in my head, or if you can't do 30 divided by 2, or cut 30 in half, then do it this way. Okay, that's 15. So let's cut this in half, which means divide by 2, and that gives us this. So you're going to need to multiply both of those numbers, and I'll get you started, and you're going to finish it, okay? 6 times 5 is 30. 9 times 5 is 45, plus 3 is 48. You're going to skip this. Don't put anything there, and then do 1 times 6, 1 times 9, and add, okay? So finish that on your own, and then put your answer in. Number 8, what is the area of the fabric? Okay, so try this on your own. Pause the video, see if you can do it on your own. See if you remember what to do. Hopefully, you added these two numbers, 6 plus 6, times this length, which is 4 plus 8. Okay? Now, let's cut the first number in half. And what I mean by that is that this is what it means to cut it in half. It means to divide by 2. And 12 divided by 2 is this. So you multiply those two numbers together, centimeters squared, that's your answer. 6 times 12 is going to be your answer. Go ahead and do the work, though. This is tricky. I'm not even sure I can do this, to be honest with you. So, here's what I know you do, though. You're going to take that length, which is 14. You're going to multiply it times whatever that distance is. I don't know what that is. And it's going to equal 28. Okay? Now, to solve this, let's divide. So this is technically, let's call this x. That's actually a bad number. Let's call that the horizontal, the vertical distance. 14 times v equals 28. Well, what's the opposite of times 14? Divide. So, when you divide, 28 divided by 14 is 2. Now, here's where you got to really be paying attention, okay? This is not the answer. This is not the answer. But what I want you to see is this. What that is, that's this distance, that whole thing, that vertical distance from the top of the shape to the bottom, that distance is 2. But they want to know x. X is half that. So what number, when you add to itself, is going to give you 2? What number plus, or what's 2 divided by 2? And the answer is 1. And I hope that made sense. X is 1. I'm stupid. What did I do wrong? I don't want to have to pause the video. So, if that's 14 times something gives me the area of the kite is 28. All right. Okay, so the answer is 2. But why? What did I do wrong? Oh, Heath. 14 times that vertical distance. Oh, okay. You actually needed, well, here's what I forgot to do, and that's my fault. This isn't a rectangle. So before I multiply those to get I can't multiply the horizontal distance times the vertical distance to get the area. What I forgot to do is I forgot to cut one of those numbers in half. So if I cut 14 in half, then I can multiply to get the vertical length. So now I can divide by 7, and my vertical distance is 4. And what that means is the distance from here to here is 4. So what's 4 cut in half? If that whole thing from the top to the bottom is 4, well then what's half of that? Half of 4 is 2. There we go. My fault, guys. Sorry about that. Number 10. What's the area of the trapezoid? Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. Do this on your own. And this is what here's my hint. Add the top plus the bottom, okay? Add those two. That's going to give you a number. And then write that times 4. And then cut that number in half. Take 4, cut it in half, multiply it times 8 plus 4, and you get your answer. Good luck with that. That's a pretty basic one. You should do fine on that. Number 11, what's the area? Oh, now this is a parallelogram, which is the same thing as a rectangle. Take the base times the height, and you're done. So you take 12 times 8, you get your answer, piece of cake. You don't have to divide by 2. This is not a triangle or a trapezoid. You just base times height. And they give you meters squared, so you don't have to worry about that. For the next one, a rectangle and a parallelogram have the same base and same height. Let's say this is 8, this is 4, this is 8, and this is 4. If they have the same in base and same height, what is true about the areas of both? And you should be able to figure it out because you do the exact same thing to find the area of both. So the answer, comparing the area of both, should be obvious. Next. Which two parallelograms have the same area? So to find the area of a parallelogram, just multiply base times height. Multiply base times height. Multiply base times height. And then you do this one on your own. And when you do, crap, I just showed you the answer. Because they want to know which two figures have the same area. Well, I just kind of gave it away if you were paying attention on accident. And I'm sorry. Actually, no, I didn't. I think I wrote the wrong thing down. This area is 54. This area is 60. This area is 66. So you find this area, and it's going to be one of those numbers. And then you're going to know which two figures have the same area. Number 14. Okay, Lainey's room is in the shape of a parallelogram. The floor of her room is shown and has an area of 108 square feet. And she has a rug that's 6 feet wide and 10 feet long. Now the first question is, what's the height? So if you have a parallelogram, and you know the base times height is going to equal the area for a rectangle or a parallelogram or a square, and you know the area is 108, and you know the base is 9, well then how do you get h by itself? We'll just divide by 9. Okay? And you do that. 9 goes into 10 how many times? And then multiply, and then subtract, and then bring down, and then 9 goes into 18 how many times? And so you multiply, and then you subtract, no remainder, so the answer is 12, okay? So h is going to equal 12. That's the height. That's my first answer. Second question. Complete the inequalities to compare the dimensions. Compare the length of the rug to the height of the parallelogram. Okay, so the length of the rug, I'm going to say the length is going to be this because it says 10 feet long instead of the width. I'm going to say that's the length, not the width, but the length. So the length of the rug, 10 feet long, to the height of the parallelogram. We just found that, and that's 12. And yeah, 12 is greater than 10. That makes sense. Compare the widths. Okay, so the widths. The width of the rug, which is first, and that's going to be this number, that's 6. And the room, which is, what's the width of the room? It's not, it's the other number that we haven't used. It's 9. Yeah? So will the rug fit in her room? It's a weird question. I think so. I'm going to type yes, since the dimensions are smaller. What am I missing here? I'm missing something. What am I missing? Uh-oh. If I'm stuck on this, I bet you guys are stuck on this. Oh, that's right. You just have to hit next and just see if it's right or not. Okay, my fault. Find the area of the triangle. Class, take the base, take the height, and then take your answer and divide by 2. Or, take the base, take the height, before you multiply, cut this number in half, and then multiply and you get your answer. Either way is fine. And then you put your answer in. Okay? Next. The one that I was not sure about is number 14. So I need to go back to number 14. Okay, the area of the quadrilateral. Here's the good news. That distance is 8. So you have 2 big triangles. 8 with a height of 2, and you have another triangle, base of 8, exact same height. So 8 times 2, cut that number in half, and then multiply. Take the base times the height, and then cut this number in half before you multiply. So that number plus that number is going to be your answer, and I see it as a multiple choice response. So that's what you got to do that, okay? And that leaves us with one more, and we're going to finish in less than 20 minutes, which is great. Find the area of the triangle, class. It's base times height divided by 2. Or cut that number in half and multiply times 14. Whichever one works, do that, and you're done. Thank you. Let me hit next. I want to hit submit because I want to see the answer to number 14. Number 14. Okay, so we did number 14 right. So this one, that was all completely correct. Okay? All right. Hope that was helpful.